everyone. Welcome to the Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. It's the post Super Bowl wrap-up show as we put a bow on the year and take you into the off-season NFL, helping you to stay on top of it year-round. Hold on tight. I'm G-Man. There's T-Money, and it's the Chiefs, T-Money, who make it to the pinnacle in 2023. They get it done. These guys behind me, Reed and Mahomes, they do it again, man. And Mahomes turns in a legendary performance.
Yeah.
333 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, team high 66 rush yards, and gets the MVP. Besides Mahomes, Team Money, what do you think? What's the biggest reason the Chiefs win it this year?
Oh, besides Mahomes, okay.
Yeah, you can't
because
say Mahomes.
He just was on another level, man.
Yeah.
I just think the stars of the Niners didn't come through. I mean, Brock Purdy played a fine game, and we'll talk about him later. You know, with Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, they had less yards combined than Travis Kelce. And so all year we've been talking about these amazing weapons that they have, and they didn't come through. And even McCaffrey rushing the ball. I mean, the guy had 22 rushes for only 80 yards. That might be one of his worst yards per carry the entire season. I think it was a season low, and he fumbled the ball. So it's just a kind of an overall star power that, we said don't rely on Brock Purdy. Your stars need to be your guys. Christian McCaffrey, that offensive line maybe wasn't good enough, and he didn't have a great rushing game. Clearly, Debo and Ayuk got shut down by Snead and Tranquil. Are McDuffie. They're awesome DBs for Kansas City. And then Kittle, who's not really a great playoff performer in general, didn't have a great game. So overall, it's just the stars of San Francisco did not come through. I thought their defense played well enough to win that thing, held them to 19 points in regulation, and they didn't come through. The stars of San Francisco are the reason.
Yeah. Well, you're saying it's more San Francisco blowing it than Kansas City taking it. Goes into overtime, could have went either way.
For sure.
Andy Reid and Mahomes, what a combination these guys are, and they have all the experience. This team just has it all. And the unique thing this year, they lost 6 regular season games, the most Mahomes has lost in 6 seasons as a starter, and they fight their way through road games, Team Money. They go on the road this year for the first time in the postseason, and they deliver, and they come all the way and get it.
Yeah, it was impressive, man. These Chiefs are on a different level. Chris Jones was just a monster, blowing up, that San Francisco offensive line. It seemed like, he didn't record any sacks on the game, but he seemed like he was everywhere. He just was blowing up every pass play opportunity. So that Kansas City defense really came to play. And maybe that's the bigger reason that, San Francisco stars didn't show up. Kansas City's defense continues to be insanely undervalued, holding them to 19 points in regulation, the highest scoring team in the NFL this year. They've just been on an absolute tear. They silenced those receivers. They shut down Christian McCaffrey. And in the biggest moments, Brock Purdy was being rushed by Chris Jones and missing throws because there was a big guy in his face. So that Kansas City defense just came to play. Spags, their defensive coordinator, first coordinator to ever win 4 Super Bowls, just was dialing up everything. That defense was just phenomenal tonight.
Yeah. And, a lot can be said about both teams. Great years for both teams. I know San Fran leaves here feeling bad, but they had a great year. And, looking at this one game, though, they wanted to get it. And they made a lot of mistakes. They muffed a punt. They put together some drives that they just couldn't get touchdowns out of. The last 2 drives, they both were field goals. So they just were a step away, T-Money. Do you blame Shanahan for the miscues and why they missed on this one?
It's not one big thing. Like, there's the reports coming out that, and not even just reports, the San Francisco guys said it themselves. Juszczyk and some of these other guys were on record saying we had no idea about overtime and the rules. And then you hear Kansas City talking, yeah, we've been talking about this since training camp. And it just shows you the level of attention to detail that may be missing in this Kyle Shanahan, system or just overall organization, right? And so I don't blame him for taking the ball in overtime. That's not the reason they lost, but having your mentality be one thing for your defense or offense in that situation is a big deal. Thinking if we score first, the game's over. Like that changes how your defense is on the sideline prepping, right? And on top of that, I think Shanahan gets so stuck in his own script. I just think there's got to be ways to get Aiyuk and Debo the ball in some open schemes. We've seen that all year. It's just Aiyuk wide open down the sideline, Debo wide open, slanting in the middle of the field. How can you not give a couple quick, easy passes to get the ball in those playmakers' hands? And then lastly, I do think, in going into halftime, the Chiefs had the ball with, I think, a minute 30, and they were just running out the clock, and they were going to kick a field goal, right, to cut it to 10-3. Shanahan had timeouts. He could have called timeout and gotten the ball back for a potential field goal himself. They got the ball back with 25 seconds left, I think. And so this just goes to show the attention to detail in the biggest moments. Those little things matter. And so I do think some of those miscues helped Kansas City enough to give them a small enough window to take control of this game. It seemed like San Francisco could have put this game away over and over again and just couldn't. And that's got to be on the coach. So I don't blame him for the loss, but I think the miscues sort of cost him. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we talked about in our pre-Super Bowl show, we talked about Shanahan and his miscues in the fourth quarter, and they do it again.
Yeah.
They blow another double-digit lead to the Chiefs in a Super Bowl. They did the same thing in Super Bowl 54. This is Super Bowl 58. They watch a 10-point lead evaporate.
Yeah.
They had them again, and
they
do not close out. Again, Shanahan's going to take some heat for that. But the last 2 years, they made the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
This year, they make it to the Super Bowl. They're doing great as a team.
They're
just not getting that final prize. And what do you think about Purdy, Brock Purdy? Is he playing well enough? Is he playing good enough? You excited about him being their leader going into next year?
Yeah, I mean, he played fine. Like, I don't think he played bad enough to where you're like, oh my God, we got to get rid of this guy, like he did in the beginning of the Packers and the Lions game. Like there was talk if he's going to be the starter next year, if he plays another half like that in the Super Bowl. He played all right. Now, like, the difference is you're not going to beat these big time teams when you don't have a difference maker. Patrick Mahomes was not playing well in the big first half of this game. Kelce had one target, and it just seemed like Patrick Mahomes was like, all right, enough messing around. Let me show you what the best player in the world can do. Let me show you what a difference maker at this position looks like. And Purdy just was fine. And so look, I don't think he played bad. I don't think he played great. He played good enough to win. Sure, he did. They were in overtime. That means he played good enough to win.
Yeah.
But when you don't have a difference maker at quarterback, in the biggest moments, it shows. And he struggled versus the Packers. He struggled versus the Lions. And Jordan Love looked like a different quarterback in that game. Jared Goff seemed to outplay him. And so, like, I think this team is incredible. They're going to be back here next year. They have all the pieces. But Brock Purdy, he doesn't look like a difference maker. He made some good throws. He made some fine throws. I think he targeted Christian McCaffrey freaking 8 times. Jawan Jennings had 5 targets. There's 13 of your total 37 throws. Like, those guys, Raymond McLeod and Juszczyk, and these guys are all getting looks, and he couldn't get the ball to Brandon Aiyuk and Debo. They combined for 6 catches. So
and Kittle only had 2 catches.
Yeah, for 4 yards. So you know, he couldn't get those guys the ball.
Getting it to the Stars. You're right. And that is Purdy's got to figure that out. And also when they got down in overtime to the end zone, they did not get a touchdown.
No.
They need to get that touchdown. That's on Purdy, man. They got to bring that home. He's got to execute.
Yeah.
That's what Mahomes does. Mahomes executes. 3rd down, 4th down. You know he's going to make it happen.
Yeah, you just feel it.
Quick shout out to Blue Tees Golf T Money. Go to blueteesgolf.com, everybody. Find affordable, high quality golf products like rangefinders, speakers, and a rangefinder that's a speaker. Hey, pick up your golf game, man. Enter coupon code FSHS, get a 10% discount. BlueTeesGolf.com. We're talking about Mahomes, T Money, great win there. And no, with that win, looking at his whole career, what do you think? Is he the best quarterback ever in your mind?
Oh, man. So this is just a tough one. I think he's the best I've ever seen. You know, I do think this looks like the best quarterback that's ever played the position. And I know that's controversial. Brady, he can make every throw Brady can make and more that Brady can't make. And he can move with his legs. I think he's averaging over 50 yards rushing in Super Bowls. I don't think Brady rushed 50 yards his entire career combined. You know, like the guy is known for QB sneaks and that's it. So what he can do physically, it's unbelievable. And he's gotten to this rarefied air already that, you know, he has more playoff wins than Peyton Manning and had in his entire career. He's got more Super Bowls than him. He's only trailing Joe Montana in Super Bowls and is tied with him in total wins. Like, the things he's done, he's already the 2nd best quarterback, no matter what. But if I'm saying the best guy, who do I want one game? Like that guy, I know Brady wills himself, but the escapability part of this, you know, being able to rush on 4th and 1. I mean, on 4th and 1, though, he doesn't have to throw a slant to Julian Edelman, you know, like Brady did. On 4th and 1, he rolled out and got the 4th and 1 with his legs. That makes it such a more dynamic and opens up the playbook to another level. So I think he is the best I've ever seen, the best that's ever played the position. He's not the GOAT. That's Brady. He's got a lot of Super Bowls to win to get there, but my God, is he on the way? Like this guy is special. You feel when he's got the ball, you're like, oh, he's going to go win the game. Like you just feel it. It's crazy.
Yeah, he joins Brady and Montana as the only players to win 3 Super Bowl MVP awards. And Mahomes does it in great fashion. He engineered the Chiefs offense to 5 scoring drives in the second half, including a game-tying drive to force overtime. And then the 13-play, 75-yard game-winning drive in overtime. The guy does it when the pressure's on. And we both predicted Kansas City would be in the Super Bowl. Let's talk about our predictions, Team Money. How we did this year. We gave some great picks out this year. We had a great year with our big bets. But starting first with our picks for the playoffs, Team Money, looking at the AFC, I predicted Kansas City over the Bengals in that AFC Championship. Bengals, big letdown for me. And you predicted Kansas City over Miami in the AFC playoffs. And Miami, big letdown. Any thoughts on Miami and the Bengals not even getting close to what we expected?
Well, let me just preface it with this, okay? Miami was going into this week 16, the number 1 seed. So that could have happened if they hadn't just fallen apart a little bit. That could have potentially been the path. They just played them a few rounds earlier than I thought. You know, if they had home field, it wouldn't have looked so cold for those guys. But unfortunately, the Bengals, man, you know, Burrow's hurt. I think we're going to be back. We're the only guy that can beat you know, Mahomes in the playoffs. It's just blowing these Cincinnati boys down here. So the whole league's looking for us to come beat this guy again. You know, I hope we can next year. But yeah, good. We both predicted, you know, Kansas City this year, back to back. So hell of a year for us, you know, and our playoff predictions at least.
In our NFC champion, I predicted Philly over the 49ers. Had the 49ers in the championship game. So did you. And we both picked Philly to win that NFC. And the 49ers prove us wrong, and they get into that title game. And you predicted Kansas City to win it all, and you were right. I did not. I predicted the Eagles to come back.
Thank you,
KC. So T-Money. All right, great job on that.
Thank you.
And that was some of our division picks. We'll get some more good ones next year. Let's look at our best bets, our big bets that we provided this year. T-Money rolls over 50% this year to 58% picks for T-Money.
Come on.
G-Man just blows it out with 73% accuracy against the spread. Total father, son, and holy sport, 69% on our picks against the spread, including player props. Man, that's great picking this year for father, son sports.
Hell of a year, man. I think anyone would take almost 70% average for a show. G-Man, just a savant over there, you know, especially with those player props. You guys, he's the best player prop guy in the game right now. This is player props central over here, okay? So this is your go-to guy for player props. This is impressive, G-Man, impressive year. But hey, I'll take over 50%. And anyone would take that.
Yeah, 5 of 5 player props in the Super Bowl. That was amazing. Yeah, great win there. And, you know, what do you think as we look toward next year, T-Money? Who's likely to get back to the Super Bowl next year?
Out of these two, you know.
Out of anybody.
Out of anybody, man.
You can pick these two if you want.
Look,
I'm going to say right now the Chiefs, okay?
I can't not – I know. I can't not say the Chiefs anymore, right? What the hell? Now, I am very, very concerned with this group because Snead is a free agent and Chris Jones is a free agent. They are staples of that defense. They have the best defensive backcourt, pairing of cornerbacks in the league. And then Chris Jones, the best D tackle in the league. So if they lose those guys, I'm really concerned. But if they keep everyone in place, how do you say the Chiefs won't get back here? So I'm saying Chiefs in the AFC. I hope to God my Bengals beat them, but I can't not say the Chiefs. And how the hell did the Niners not make it back? They return everybody. The Eagles are in shambles. They just beat the Lions. Purdy's only going to get better. You know, he's so young, and the NFC's a mess. I don't see how this isn't the rematch next year, and I think we'd all love that if that's the case.
Well, we thought KC would be rematched against Philly, and Philly was such a big disappointment. You never know, but yeah, you're right. It looks like that right now. But let's look at the AFC, though. It's still a gauntlet. You got Buffalo and Baltimore Ravens still itching to get that AFC title. You have the Bengals with Burrow back. You got the Browns with Chubb back, and the Jets with Aaron Rodgers back. So there's some
Houston Texans. You know, they look good with CJ. You know, Miami, if they get home field advantage. You got the Jags who were in the playoffs. Harbaugh with the Chargers and Herbert. Now it's stacked in the AFC.
Yeah, it is
stacked in the AFC. It's insane. It's insane.
Well, T-Money, had a great time hanging out with you this year. Great job. I love working with you, man.
G-Man, great year. This has been a freaking blast. As always, we're going to continue this. It ain't over, even though the season's over.
That's right. We got February 29th, just a couple weeks away. We got the NFL Combine, so you got some things to look out for in March. Look for the March Madness G-Man pool. We're going to be raising money, Father Son Sports, raising money for charity.
Yeah.
Look at inspirehopetoday.org. We got our next live show to kick off the new football season. April 25th, the NFL Draft. T-Money and I will be live with the first 10 picks usually. Sometimes we go to 15. And what's going to happen to the Bears and who's going to get the first pick? You know, there could be a trade, T-Money.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun time. With live draft, as always, you know, we'll be there analyzing, reacting. It's going to be fun. NFL free agency starts mid-March, so keep an eye out. Teams making big swings here. We'll see how that all goes.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, Father Son Sports loves bringing you the energy, everybody. We hope you had a fun football year hanging out with us. We love you, man. On behalf of T-Money, I'm G-Man. See you soon.
Peace.